Baldur's Gate 3 has been officially released for 2 years now. Larian Studios, an award-winning developer, has already announced their next project. Unfortunately, it's not Baldur's Gate 4, and if we look at the current market, there's still no game that truly matches Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes to dense branching narratives and cinematic storytelling through fully voiced cutscenes. At least for now, the only future release that really feels promising is Solasta 2, if it manages to surprise us. But here's the thing, the future isn't here yet. So instead of waiting, well, why not look back at the excellent turn-based games that already exist? They may not be new, but they offer something different, and in many cases, something just as memorable. If you absolutely love Baldur's Gate 3's Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition rules, and you care deeply about whether the combat itself is fun, challenging, and plentiful, then you should definitely try Solasta. Its weaknesses are obvious, the visuals are basic, and the story is fairly simple, but it has one major strength. It almost perfectly recreates D&D 5e rules in gameplay. Dice rolls, action, economy, verticality, lighting, reactions. Everything works exactly as it should. There's a huge amount of combat, and the official level cap goes all the way up to level 16 for players who mainly enjoy tactical combat. Solasta can actually feel more pure than Baldur's Gate 3, but maybe you feel that turn-based combat is too slow. D&D 5e is too simplified. You want deeper, more flexible character build, and you genuinely miss the feeling of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. If that sounds like you, then Owlcat Games' Pathfinder series is basically the answer. Both Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous faithfully adapt Pathfinder 1st edition, featuring massive feat trees, heavy number scaling, extremely complex multi-class options. This rules itself evolved from D and D 3rd edition under the Ogle, on top of classic turn-based combat. You can also switch to real-time with pause, which dramatically speeds things up without sacrificing depth. In short, this is a CRPG made for hardcore rules enthusiasts. If you prefer a sci-fi setting, but still want CRPG mechanics like dice rolls and deep character builds, then also from Owlcat Games, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader is worth your attention. It doesn't use D&D or Pathfinder rules, but the core design philosophy remains the same. Dice-based mechanics, turn order management, build-focused decision-making. You play as a rogue trader granted a warrant of trade by the Emperor himself, free to explore, trade, and wage war, across the brutally unforgiving Warhammer 40k universe. Now, if you're completely overwhelmed by CRPG stats and rule systems, and all you want is pure turn-based gameplay, high-pressure tactical decision-making, clean, decisive combat feedback, then you must play XCOM 2. This 2016 tactical classic still looks great even today. The story is minimal, but its core appeal lies in ruthless hit, chance mechanics, permanent death, a mix of global strategy and squad-level tactics. You play as the commander of the XCOM resistance, rebuilding humanity's last hope from a mobile base while fighting alien occupation. It's a cornerstone of turn-based tactical design. If small squad combat feels too limited, and you want to recruit armies and command multiple heroes, you might immediately think of Heroes of Might and Magic. But that series is showing its age, and its modern entries have been questionable. Instead, consider Disciples Liberation, released in 2021. 1. It continues the dark fantasy world of the Disciples series, but shifts fully into grid-based, tactical, turn-based combat. You follow Aviana as she leads a rebellion to free the continent of Nevendar from the rule of the gods. In the mid to late game, the protagonist can become extremely powerful, so it can even feel like a fast-paced power fantasy at times. Yet, its narrative weight and world building remain solid throughout. If you're more drawn to post-apocalyptic tension, then Wasteland 3 is almost impossible to ignore. Often described as a turn-based Fallout, it's a black-humored CRPG set in post-nuclear America. Civilization has collapsed, leaving behind radiation, famine, and violence as the dominant forces of the world. You control a squad of Arizona desert rangers, forced to negotiate with dictators and local warlords just to survive, making difficult choices with lasting consequences. Finally, if you prefer grounded, low fantasy settings, enjoy management, progression, and trade, and don't want to be dragged into another save the world narrative, then you should try Wartales. This is an open-world turn-based RPG where you lead a mercenary company through a medieval world, taking contracts, exploring regions, running taverns, delving into ruins. But just like in real life, the larger your company becomes, the harder it is to manage. Loot distribution, resource allocation, morale, and injuries all demand constant attention. Sustainability, not heroism, is the true core of this game. Maybe the next Baldur's Gate 3 is still on the way, but the true appeal of turn-based games has never existed, only in the future.